Hello Resistors, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to talk about the number one mistake African immigrants are still making in the UK. I'm sure we've all seen the footage by now. We've all heard the news. Another African caught on CCTV abusing an elderly in a UK care home. And people are outraged, and rightly so, because honestly speaking, this is turning out to be a pattern that is getting Africans into trouble in the UK. Now, before I continue with this video, I just want to express my condolences to the family of the man who passed away. And I also want to condemn what that carer did. It's absolutely diabolical. It's disgusting. That kind of behavior from someone who's supposed to be caring for our elderly, somebody who's supposed to be protecting the vulnerable in our community. For them to do that, it's absolutely diabolical. And even though I'm going to talk about the number one reason why this happens, I need to be clear. This is not an excuse. It's not an excuse for such kind of behavior. However, I just want to discuss what I think is like the underlying cause. And that underlying cause, according to my opinion, is leading to other causes as well, which I'll discuss in this video. Now, let me start by saying this. Not everyone is meant to be a carer. We are not born carers, and I can even go as far as saying we are not born nurses. This is not a job for everyone. And many of us, Africans and other immigrants as well, when we move abroad, when we come to the UK, we come with a dream. We want a better life for ourselves. But unfortunately, what ends up happening is that people take jobs, any type of job they can, to chase the dream or to fulfill the dream, especially in the care sector or in the healthcare sector. But I'm saying that this job, especially care work, it's not for everyone. There is a reason why people say care work or nursing is a calling. There's a reason why people say that. The reason people say that is because not everyone has the heart for it. Not everyone can survive the job. You can do it for a while, but sooner or later, something will snap. And when you take on the job without that emotional and mental readiness, guess what? You're not just hurting yourself, but you end up hurting vulnerable people too. Because what I know is abuse doesn't just come out of nowhere. There is a trigger. Something happens before that. That trigger could be anything: burnout, stress, bitterness, or just being in the wrong job. Because unfortunately, as Africans or even other immigrants, because it's not just Africans alone, other migrants or other immigrants as well, they can be affected by this. And what I'm talking about is unrealistic expectations. Because I don't feel that when we move to the UK or when we move abroad in general, I don't feel that we have realistic expectations. I don't feel that we are ready when we come to these foreign lands. Maybe because when people tell us what to expect, we don't believe them. This is another issue that I'm seeing. So then when you come to the UK and then you realize actually the reality on the ground is not what I expected. It's not all peaches and cream. It's not all rosy. That's when the frustration kicks in, and then you end up taking it out on the wrong people. To me, this is the number one reason or the number one mistake that we're making, coming to the UK with unrealistic expectations. Now, linking that to that second mistake that I said is linked to this problem is being too emotional. I'll give you a good example. When we face conflict at work, instead of staying calm, focusing on the facts, what has happened, and communicating in a calm, rational way, we react emotionally. And unfortunately, what ends up happening is that even though we are in the right, we end up being the ones on the wrong side of that argument because we are not supposed to argue. We're supposed to communicate. We raise our voices. We get defensive, trying to prove that we have been wronged rather than working through the system in a strategic way. We are supposed to use the rules, the policies, the channels that have been put in place for us. As we know, in the UK, it's not about how you feel. It's not about your emotions. Emotions don't win arguments. Emotions don't win grievances. In the UK, what wins grievances is being calm and evidence. From my experience, this is what I've discovered because I have had to learn this the hard way. I was also one of those emotional people. I would lead with my feelings rather than gathering the evidence that I need to make my case. But over time, I learned. And unfortunately, as Africans, as immigrants in the UK, sometimes we end up into serious trouble. We end up in disciplinary meetings. We end up getting arrested when we're actually in the right sometimes. So unfortunately, this is what ends up happening sometimes. And this is why we keep seeing these viral videos showing Africans in a bad light. And another issue as well that I feel doesn't work in our favor is lack of awareness, because I feel that we're operating, not everyone, but I feel that sometimes we operate on autopilot. We are working, we're hustling, we're chasing those shifts, we're sending money home. We're just doing that and not paying particular attention to our environment. Because clearly that carer, had she known that there was CCTV in the room, do you think that she would have done it? I don't think she would have done it. That's not to say that people should do it if they're not being watched. No, that's not what I'm saying. The point I'm trying to make is we are not even aware that these things can happen. In 2025, with all the documentaries that have been published out there, with all what we have seen, with all the viral videos that we have seen in the past of carers abusing the elderly in the care homes, you would think that people know by now that they are being watched. This is why I'm saying we're just operating on autopilot, not paying attention to our environment, what is actually happening around us. We are not reading the room. We are missing the signs. We keep missing the signs. We don't get it when we're being watched. We don't get it when we're being judged or set up. Sometimes we are set up, but unfortunately, because, as I said, we're not paying attention, we end up getting into trouble. In this country, you must always be aware, like situationally aware. You can't just go through life surviving. You must also be observing, paying attention. Because unfortunately, when one of our people falls, we all feel it. Because right now, people are talking about Africans, those Africans in the UK, those carers, those immigrants. We all feel it. We're all affected. Because then people will end up judging us. We're all put in that category. But what I know for certain is that Africans are one of the most hardworking, one of the most caring people on this planet. But because of a few people who are caught, because of a few apples, we end up getting labeled all kinds of things. And also what ends up happening is that employers, when we apply for those jobs, employers end up looking at us with suspicion. They end up saying, oh, watch those Africans, be careful with them. And this is how doors close. This is why we end up having tighter immigration policies. Some visas are now being closed because of this. So, yeah, I don't think we are paying attention. I don't think we are realizing the far-reaching consequences. So anyway, now that I've talked about the problems, what I feel we're doing wrong, what can we do differently? Or how can we change moving forward? What I'll say is, and this one might be a little bit tricky, but I'll say that don't take jobs you're not emotionally ready for. I say that this is a bit tricky because we know the job market nowadays, and if you're on a certain type of visa or if you don't have the qualifications, then unfortunately you may end up settling for any type of job, including care work. But it is a solution. If you're in a position to choose what type of job you can do, then don't take jobs you're not emotionally ready for. Be mentally and emotionally ready to do the job and understand your duties before you even submit that application. So that will be my first suggestion. My second suggestion is, let us learn to take emotions out of our grievances. If you're wronged in the workplace, first of all, communicate, follow the policies, the channels, the proper channels, and also gather your evidence. Be calm about it. That is the only way you can win in the UK, because in the UK, it's all about evidence. Document, document, document. In nursing, we say that if it's not written, it is not done. If you say something happens and there's nowhere you've written it down, even in your diary, let us get into the habit of keeping diaries. Put dates down, put those details down. What happened, how it happened, why it happened, what you did, and everything. My next suggestion is, let us stop moving through life blindly. Let us learn to look around, observe, learn, read the room, read the signs, and adapt accordingly. Because here's the thing, we need to remember that you're not just representing yourself. When we are in these workplaces, when we are moving in these foreign lands, whatever we say, our behavior, everything, you're not just representing yourself. You're representing a flag. You're representing Africa, you're representing Zimbabwe, you're representing Kenya, you're representing Malawi, you're representing Uganda, you're representing Tanzania. Whatever you do in this country, you're representing Africa. Because when people judge, they don't judge a person, they judge those people, those Africans. And like I said earlier, this is how doors end up getting shut. Because the truth is, this country is full of opportunity, despite the challenges, despite the change in visa rules, despite everything becoming tighter. The country is still full of opportunity. But if we don't wise up, guess what? We'll keep walking into those traps. So yeah, this is what I wanted to say in this video. As always, I don't know what you think. I don't know what you make of this. What are your thoughts? As always, don't forget to like this video, share it as well. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.